Okay, so last week we left everyone with a cliffhanger.
Yep.
We started talking about our warm-up 2.0, we started talking about some of the changes. We touched on Grapevine and the other components.
Yep.
We're going to do D-slides, but we're kind of running out of time. So we used to do just D-slides where you shuffle your way to half court, go right side, then go left side and come back. But we've changed that.
Yeah. So we've changed it to a lateral push step, which is what I believe is the best way to move laterally in particularly in basketball, but I think in sport in general. If you're in a kind of a reactive stance, it's the push in the same way as sprinting. If I'm sprinting this way, I'm pushing that way.
Backwards, yep.
Yeah. If I'm moving this way, I'm pushing with this hip to go that way.
To go left, you push with the right.
Yeah. I think it's a controversial area in basketball because there's the tradition of doing slides, which is a longer, slower kind of push slide sort of thing, where you'll have people slide up and down the court
or
across,
like sliding suicides.
but they might do multiple slides. What's interesting is when you watch a game of basketball, no one ever does. I just have never seen more than 2 consecutive slides, and even that's relatively rare. The AIS did, when Ian Stacker was the men's program coach, they did detailed analysis of the movement skill. I think Paul Goris might have been the one that ran it, basketball coach, great basketball coach, and they found that the most efficient way of moving was actually like a receiver in tennis, where you're standing with both feet at a time and kind of
jumping,
just waiting and then just jumping. Now, I think that study might have been a little bit biased by the fact that Owen Adigi, who's like the fastest, most explosive kid I've ever trained.
He's insane.
So I think a fair bit of it was probably based on him. I don't know, just supposition.
Yes.
And I think he could do it on one leg backwards and he'd still be really fast. My view is that the best way to, when you're working with more regular human athletes,
the humanoids of us,
is that a hard lateral push-up. So you're down in your stance and you've got one. It's effectively a lateral jump where you just push off, get in front. If you don't successfully cut them off, you turn and run.
Yeah. I'll get some footage. I've got some great footage of some NBA and some Olympic stuff of guys. If they don't make that first step, they turn and instantly open the hips and it's sprinting to recover. It's never, well, I missed the first one, I'll give it 3 or 4 more cracks.
Americans. Chris Pong working on Mills. Chris Pong working on Mills.
And it's certainly never do this like 15 times slowly.
Yeah.
Like
with a shuffle. It's like the jogging of lateral movement.
Yeah, exactly. It's the jog. It's like, I think now 2016 we know that most people know that running 5,000 meters slowly to get great at sprinting 16 meters, Fallon distance.
In the basketball court,
so running 5,000 meters slowly to get great at sprinting 16 meters is just insane. I think that case has been made reasonably well.
Pretty confident with that one. Yep.
There is an article on. We've got an article. One of my.
I'll link that on in. Yeah, cool.
But yeah, I think you're spot on. The jogging slides are the jogging of
a push step. Yeah.
But it's just that it hasn't been exposed as such widely enough. Whenever we talk to coaches and talk about it, they're like, well, that makes perfect sense. Like, no one ever puts up a fight for slides, but there's still that widely held perception that that's the thing you should do. If you want your team to be quicker laterally, make sure you put in slides.
Yeah.
So what we're having people now do is stand there and react to a hand signal, and it's down in a stance, and I go, and they do one push step, and then I go the other way.
One push step, reset, and then go again, or they go the same way for the next one.
And so the benefit of that is you're in a low stance and you're pushing across, so you're getting to the right spot. But I think the hidden benefit, which is at least as important as that, is 50% of the time you guess wrong. You get faked out. Someone fakes right, and they're actually intending to go left the whole time. If you've turned your foot and opened up to go that direction
with a slide step,
if they've successfully faked you, your ability to bounce back and recover is negligible.
Yeah, to go back the other way to make up for your mistake.
Whereas if you've kept your feet relatively neutral and you've pushed one way and you've guessed wrong, you can react very rapidly, and you actually get a plyometric effect out of your mistake. So you go here and you plyometrically can snap back to where you should have been.
Yeah.
So I think that ability to push across but also to snap back is huge, and that's probably part of the reason that Owen was so good on the 2 foot thing, because if you keep both feet, you can really snap back. We had a few athletes do that in national teams, do the double thing. What everyone did report was their calves got incredibly tired doing it. Because the tennis players only got to do it for a tiny bit, and then the actual match, or the match, they start running around. Whereas in basketball, you might do that for quite a long time.
24 seconds.
Yeah. So I think the lateral push step is a really important thing. We're trying to popularise it.
So coaches who are watching, they're going to want to know how to train lateral if it's not just with slides of seat. You've got just the lateral push step is an awesome start.
So
I'll put some video into that as well.
I think the awesome start is to get people into a good defensive stance with a good width. People go too wide, and therefore they can't get in. It's like if you think of the guns, like they've spent the energy. If their hips are out too wide, they've got nowhere to go.
They've already pulled the trigger.
Yeah. So I think narrower, not a narrow stance, but a narrower stance. So you've got
shoulder width-ish.
Just a little wider than shoulder width.
Yep.
So they can actually get that push, and also build some capacity for depth. And we're not talking crazy ass to grass depth. We're just talking get the hips low enough you can actually put some force into the ground. Just like when we're trying to sprint, we want to be on an angle where we can put force into the ground. It's the same thing with lateral. Actually,
sideways, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so what we call ROM squats, range of motion squats. Just the ability to get down a little bit. You might do 2 sets of 10 reps at the end of your Sunday training, and people will be surprised at how much they improve over the course of a season if everyone's just doing. Because 2 sets of 10 is infinitely better than 0 sets of 0, which is what most people are doing. Yeah. I'd give them the capability to get into a position.
So a nice width with their stance, not spending their energy too early. The ROM squat, or what used to be called the D squat, where you're getting a deeper range of motion. Then you've got the actual lateral push step, where you practice just going one explosive step and doing shorter sets. So instead of just doing a minute of them to kill your athletes, do 3 each direction. And then rest
and focus on the speed.
Think about the quality and the power you're achieving, not so much are my athletes burning and hating me right now.
There's a time and a place for that. Like, you need to sometimes discipline a team and make them hurt a bit.
Or you've still got to get some fitness in there. But this is not the place.
Yeah, because you've got to focus on I think, and I think this is the important thing, the distinction between you can exhibit skill under fatigue, but you can't develop skill under fatigue.
That's nice.
And so that ability to develop, if you want to develop that skill, you need them relatively fresh. So when we're doing jumping, sprinting, all those things, we're going to develop it when they're fresh, so they can lock down the motor patterns, learn how to do it. They can then later exhibit that under fatigue in games, trainings, etc. But you've got to separate the development of skill versus the exhibition of skill.
Or the development of power in this case as well.
Yeah, because power is still a skill.
Exactly.
So I think if you do that, you're going to have laterally a much better team, and you're going to win a bunch of games. Like if you're really good laterally, you're very hard to beat because people have to settle for the jump shot. And then it's live by the sword, die by the sword, as we saw recently in finals. Like
damn Warriors.
So I think that's a huge thing.
Yeah. Now we're both biased towards basketball because it's kind of our favourite sport, and we have both played that quite a bit. This isn't just a basketball term. If you're a soccer player, a netball, or a footballer playing rugby, the ability to move laterally, powerfully, and skillfully, it applies. You see it. It's less evident because in basketball it's so much one-on-one lateral versus lateral. But it's the same in sports. Like we've got Trez, our rugby player. He's phenomenally, especially on the offense when he's attacking, laterally, that ability to push out of those corners. So it's the same thing. Get low, work in your corners, and footy around a clearance, being able to stay low through your hips and react.
And I think the universality of it is also magnified by the fact that whoever's got the ball has a massive advantage because they know what they're about to do. So in any sport, if you're having to react to their movement, anything you can do to start to close that gap where you're reacting quicker to whatever they're doing because you're proactive rather than reactive, that's also a big win, I reckon. So that ability to just be as quick as you can and minimise the competitive advantage they have by being on offence, not defence.